Welcome back to Get Down to Business, the show all about small business jobs and entrepreneurship. I have been so excited for this conversation. I've been looking forward to it for weeks now. That's because I'm joined by Seth Hanford, the head of school at the Elgin Academy. Of course, based in Elgin, but having truly a global impact. So Seth, it is an honor and a privilege to have you on the program, introducing as I understand it, 183-year-old institution. Is that right?
That's right. Yeah, 183 years, and thank you so much for having me. We're very proud of what we have to talk about, so thank you.
Absolutely. So, as you know, I love with all of our listeners to just learn about people's background, and I know you're the head of school of a very, very proud institution, a 501c3, but I know I love to learn about folks that are making a difference in the community. So, Seth, do you mind telling us a little bit about yourself and your own background?
Well, thank you again for having me. I have been my whole career in schools like this, a large portion of the career at Elgin Academy itself, but it all in schools like this started for me when I was going into ninth grade myself back in the East Coast. That's a longer time ago than I care to admit at this point, I guess. But I was sort of a not so focused middle school student, and the people around me, my family, felt very much that it would be good for me to go to a school like this, and it truly was a life-changing experience for me. I have been in schools like this basically ever since, largely as a result of that experience that I was lucky enough to have, that I had people around me who helped me get. And so my life's passion in terms of my profession has been to try to create experiences like that for other kids, and hope to make that difference in their lives in the same way that a school did for me. So we're very proud of how we do that here, and I'm very privileged to be able to represent that.
Well, congratulations and kudos for all that you and your staff, a shout out to your amazing staff at the Elgin Academy for all of you do, because that's quite a bit of longevity, 183 years. And I want to talk about that for a moment. What causes an institution to be able to last that long with such a proud history and such a great, great reputation?
Yeah, it's really a pretty stunning thing. We're the one of the oldest schools in this part of the country, and even more amazingly, we have been the entire time coeducational and non-sectarian, and that's a very, very rare thing. And so we have been committed to those ideas for that whole 183 years, which is remarkable and very unusual. I think that longevity has a lot to do with being a relationship-based place that is very, very flexible. So a lot has changed over those 183 years, obviously. We can think about all the things that have happened in society. You know, this school was chartered before the Civil War, right? So we can think of all those sorts of changes. But what's more amazing to me is what hasn't changed at all, the basis of relationships being the foundation of any education that happens, that those relationships can serve as a foundation for really great education to happen. And so that in itself hasn't changed. So I think that what makes a school able to live that long, and frankly, I think this would be the case of any sort of business, is a combination of a grounding in a mission and a philosophy with flexibility. And I've listened to enough of your shows to know that sort of mixture is what makes a lot of businesses work. And I think we're no exception in that sense, even though it's a not-for-profit one. I think that's very much what causes that sort of longevity and allows it to happen.
Mm-hmm. And relationships. I've heard you say that now over and over again. Relationships. And, there's a lot of talk in the news about education, certainly over the course of the pandemic, which hopefully we'll have a minute or two to talk about. There's a lot of different types of schools. We talk about, charter schools. We talk about public schools. But the Elgin Academy, and again, I'm chatting with the head of school of the Elgin Academy, is an independent school. What does that classification mean specifically to your students and stakeholders?
Yeah, so there are about 1,500 of us in this country, and an independent school by definition is governed by an independent, self-perpetuating board of trustees. So that's a little different than what some may be familiar with. where there's a elected school board, let's say, for a town or city or part of a couple of cities, and so we have an independent board that is self-perpetuating. It's a legal entity. That board sets a mission. In our case, that mission is inspiring students to become our creative, courageous, and compassionate future. We operate under that mission. We make all our decisions based on that mission. So rather than the mission of a public school system, for example, which might be to serve a certain area, our mission is to, in fact, do that, to inspire students to become our creative, courageous, and compassionate future. That means we're open to anybody who wants to go to a school that is governed by that mission. The Board of Trustees' job is to make sure that that mission remains relevant, to make sure that it's adequately funded. All of our funding comes from tuition and donations. We do not get public funding, and so that's a little bit of a difference. In the long run, what you get with an independent school is something where you are, in fact, buying into a mission, where people are choosing to go there because of that mission. So in a lot of ways, it's very much like any other business in that it's a market activity, right? If people don't think that mission is relevant, if that mission isn't important, then people aren't going to come to the school. And so we have to make sure that we do what we say we do, that we deliver on that. We have to make sure that that mission is relevant. And that's the job of the combination of the Board of Trustees and of the people who run the school.
That's quite a responsibility, and it's quite a responsibility. Again, I'm chatting with the head of school, Seth Hanford of the Elgin Academy, 183-year-old institution, a 501c3, an independent school, and we're learning about each of those sort of categories as we've been talking. But 183 years, indeed, a lot has happened during that period of time. But notably, over the past 2.5 years, we have had a pandemic. Without going into too many of the details, what has that pandemic meant for you? And as you've heard in previous conversations, let's talk about the silver lining. How has it changed the Elgin Academy for the better?
Yeah, I think that it has provided all of education with a real challenge, but I think for Elgin Academy, like other schools, what it's really shown is the strength of what our core mission is. It's shown the strength of those relationships between the faculty and the students and the faculty and the families and the administration, all of those partnerships that make it work. I think it's really demonstrated that strength. For us, it was a matter of integrating technology in a way that allowed us to do some things remotely. We have been able to be in person much more consistently than a lot of schools have because we have so much space on our beautiful campus. And so I think for us, there's been a decided silver lining, and we took the attitude right from the beginning of the pandemic that we were going to try to learn from that what really can change education positively. So there are some cases where we will continue to use remote platforms to do some things, to give access to people who might not have otherwise had it and things like that. So I think there is decidedly a silver lining, and for us, it has been a demonstration of what our strength has always been, I think.
And I want to talk about one of those big changes, one of the big things that's happening at the Elgin Academy, because we are running out of time, and I want to save some time for this, is the Peak on the Hilltop program. When I read about this, honestly, my mind was blown. The incredible work you're doing in helping many individuals, many students that have various special opportunities in their life, and that's where I want to sort of start in that conversation. What is the Peak on the Hilltop program, and who are you aiming to have lives changed with it?
We're really excited about this new opportunity that Peak is providing. We know that about 20% of the kids in our country have a language-based learning difference. Those kids are often incredibly intelligent, incredibly creative, but school is a difficulty for them because it's not geared towards what their skill sets are. We're creating a program that will help remediate some of those differences so that when kids leave that program, they can go into a traditional program with only the accommodation needed of extended time. They will have learned how to, through a very conscious multisensory approach, to remediate some of those differences so that school is going to go from being something that is terrifying and frustrating and difficult to something that is accessible, where they can have an experience that really looks like what a lot of us have had in school. We're really excited to be able to serve a new population who needs very much to be served and deserves to be.
Mm-hmm. Well, congratulations on all of that. I want to make sure our listeners can get in touch with you so they can support this incredible work in your incredible program. How can we contact you and support?
Yep. So thank you so much. So the best way to get in touch with us is to go to our website at elginacademy.org, and also, of course, to follow us on Twitter and Facebook at Elgin Academy. And we look forward to connecting with anybody who shares our passion for that mission.